Hey, what's up, guys? This is Lewis at That Convention Guy Collectibles, and I know some of you are probably wondering, why is he doing a video from the kitchen? And that is because this is something a little different. We all know that I collect sports cards, sports memorabilia, Funko Pops, movie posters, statues, all sorts of things. But over the last couple months, actually, it's probably been a few years, I started collecting knives. And this all started probably about 6 years ago or so. I was watching, I believe it was Michael Simon, a chef. He was on the Chew, and pretty sure maybe it was Gordon Ramsay. I don't know, it was somebody who talked about having sharp knives, and the way to avoid cutting yourself is actually by having a sharp knife, which seems counterintuitive. But yeah, a lot of times when you have a cheap knife or a dull knife, you know, you go to cut something and it'll move rather than cut, the item will move. So after I saw that, I was like, well, what makes a good knife? You know, like I had no idea. And so of course I started finding some good quality knives out there. And so I decided to splurge on one. And when I say splurge, up until that point, I was that guy that would spend, you know, $19.99 on a full knife block that had 8 steak knives, a chef knife, and like 7 other knives that you never use. So I was like, you know what? I want to get something good, a high quality knife, even though I didn't know what that was. But I did some research, went to a couple of the fancier stores, things like that, and looked at some of the better quality items there, and ended up buying a knife. It was one chef knife that was $100 by itself. And that was a lot because I was, like I said, used to spending $20 to get like 29. So yeah. So once I used it, I realized, wow, what a major difference. Using a good knife is really, really, really nice. And I haven't been cut since. So that's a good thing. Anyway, so I started collecting knives, and for one Christmas, my brother bought me a really nice, like big chunky man knife. Pretty sure it was like something like that, you know. Just a nice knife. As you can see, I have a lot of knives. So yeah. So it doesn't go that way. So then I found another company, and they started to do some collaboration knives. So the first knife I bought was just one of their regular, I think this was from the Barbarian series, something like that. You know, just a cool knife. But when I saw that they started doing collaborations, I realized I was in trouble. And the reason I was in trouble was because they did something, and they combined two of my passions, which are knives and then all my pop culture stuff. So the first one I bought was the Batman knife. I'm gonna zoom in so you can try to see. There's some design on the knife. Let's see, can you see that? Hard to tell. And then on the back side, you know, again, there's a Batman on it. I don't know if you can tell that. The blade is kind of cool. Yeah, it's a cool handle. They did a lot of cool features with that. And then they came out with the Superman knife. And this knife is actually a little dirty. But I'm going to show it to you anyway. So, pretty cool. There's the logo. And then I'll show you some of that etching right there. There he is, flying. And then on the other side, it's a little different. Yeah. So, again, I love pop culture stuff, Batman, Superman, all that. And then I do love good knives, and they make really nice knives. This is from the Dalstrong company, in case you didn't see that on the knife. And then, because they hadn't taken enough of my money, they came up with a Game of Thrones line. And I struggled because I wanted to get all of them. They have 3 different chef knives. And then they have a set of steak knives that have all of the different houses from Game of Thrones. But I decided to just go with one, and I got the Targaryen knife. And so I thought I'd go ahead and open it with you guys and show you what it is. So I'm going to lower this down a little bit. All right, let's see. So right off the bat, really nice packaging. Again, pretty cool. Shows you the knife in the front. Then it tells you all the cool things about the knife and the blade, all that kind of good stuff. Some cool graphics. There's the Iron Throne. Yeah. So pretty cool. It's a slip case, so that comes off. Here's knife. And this usually opens up. Yes, it does. So now I'm going to lay this. Oh, okay. So they do show you that they do have the different ones. And so there's a Targaryen knife, there's a Stark knife, and then the Lannisters. And then there's the steak knives as well. The Lannister knife is one that I thought about. It's like a gold color, but I didn't know how that would look up there. So I decided not to go with it. Nice little foam insert. Here's the Dalstrong Game of Thrones. And in here, again, they show you the different knives. And then, let's see what else is in here. Okay, then they kind of tell you more about each particular knife. So, it's pretty cool. The Stark knife has the wolf on it. That's pretty cool. Let me show you the Lannister knife. Gold with the red handle. It's pretty cool. And then, of course, I have the Targaryen knife. It does come with a little sticker. I put that on my cooler outside. But one of the cool things that you do get is this very cool pin. I'm going to take out all the plastic so there's a little less glare. See if I can. There's the Targaryen symbol, so that's pretty cool. I think that's also a magnet, so very cool piece. And you do get a nice pin slash magnet or magnet with all of their cool knives. All right, so you guys are seeing this as I'm seeing it, so let's go ahead and take a look. So first thing, you have this nice sheath. On one side it says Game of Thrones, but on the other, a little bit more, can you see that? All right, so, oh, that's pretty cool. If you look at that little, the clasp or the button, whatever you want to call it, it is the Iron Throne. Okay, so now, let's take a look. It says Fire and Blood, House Targaryen. Okay, so this is one side. Sorry about this picture here. Let me see if I can pull this a little closer away from the light. Nice handle. The ridges is pretty cool. All right, and then on the back side, it's like maybe Dragonstone. And it says, oh yeah, Dragonstone. That's what it says across there. For anybody who's a Game of Thrones fan, you know the importance of that. That's where Daenerys was spent a lot of the show. So yeah. And as far as the sharpness of this knife, yeah, I'm not going to do that whole like slicing through paper or slicing through a tomato. I'm not trying to sell the knife. I'm just sharing that it is a very cool knife. It's got good weight. Yeah, very, very cool. So there you go, my friends. Another part of my collection. I'm not even going to put it back because it's going up on the wall. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so there you have it. I put it up here on my knife block. Here's some of the other knives I have. Yeah. Again, very cool. So that's it. That's it for today. Yeah. Dalstrong, Game of Thrones, House Targaryen chef knife. It's pretty darn cool. It's an 8-inch chef knife. Will I get the others? I'm going to say no, but that usually doesn't mean anything, so I probably will. Who knows? Maybe I'll end up getting them as Christmas presents from loved ones. Oh, that's funny. Anyway, all right, guys, that's all for now. Appreciate you watching the video. If you haven't already done so, that's what I meant to say. Please like this channel, like the video, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. I have a lot of stuff coming in the next few months, or the next couple of days, next couple of weeks, including a room tour or a house tour of the collection. A lot has changed since the last time I did videos. I've moved, different house, have everything set up. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and we'll see you soon.